Welcome back to the next part of building this PC. I believe this is build part 3. So we have the CPU here, RAM, so you got the CPU block, some nice thermal paste, and the motherboard. So with that, let's get all this put together. We'll get it thrown in the case. I do have a couple of drives here that I found laying around, but I'm going to see here, I shouldn't say I might. I'm going to, out of the gaming PC here, because I'm waiting for 50 series at this point, I was going to rip out of here, but I think for now I'm going to leave those in there, and then when it's time I'll swap them in, but we can at least get these two installed because I don't know where else I'm going to use them, other than I might keep the Samsung one here actually, because this is a Western Digital and then a Samsung drive. I'm going to keep the Samsung one for my new NAS/server I'll probably be building. But let's jump in to the motherboard. So we ended up going with the X870 Aorus Elite Wi-Fi Ice. For those of you that are like, why didn't you wait for the new AMD chips or the 9900X 3D, whatever the heck it's going to be called, processor? I got the 9950X. The reason I'm not waiting for the 3D is the 50X. The 3D ones are never as good for productivity things, and because I also edit on this PC and stuff like that, I'm just going to take the gaming hit for an all-arounder that's going to be a little bit better for me. Plus it was out now and I found it on sale. So yeah, we're going to keep it for that reason. For the RAM, I ended up going with, I know I said we're going to do the motherboard. I'm kind of off track and we're going to go with it. I went to the G.Skill Trident Z5 Royal Neo. I went with this because otherwise you have to go with their black variant, and I didn't want to go with that. But as you can see, opening the box here, you get a little G.Skill card to tell you their website in case you didn't know where you bought your RAM from. Then you get a little microfiber and a little G.Skill sticker here as well. And then we have the RAM itself, which is beautiful. You guys can even see yourselves in it. It's pretty reflective. It is silver, not the white that I would have hoped for. These things are heavy. They don't really have a white in this stuff, and I just thought that the Neo would just have a nice glow to go with the system, so I went with these instead. They're extremely reflective, extremely fingerprint magnety, but it is 48 gigs of DDR5, 8000 megahertz CL40 RAM. So obviously not the fastest timings, but CL8000 is up there. So from what I had read, it seems like 48 gigabytes and 8000 is about as high as you can really go and get your maximum with AMD stuff, unfortunately. But you know, with Intel, we're not going to really get functional, so or not nearly as functional. So that's why we're stuck with that. Let's get this baby open. We went with a white motherboard, which I'm kind of excited for here, mainly because I want it to kind of match the system. And as you know, we've been going for white. I was debating waiting. I saw some rumors of some X870 motherboards, like refreshes coming out. But the reason I pulled the trigger on this ahead of time is white is kind of something that you don't see a lot of motherboard manufacturing brands making. And this one also has 3 PCIe slots. So holy crap, is it beautiful. This board is gorgeous. So as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3 PCIe slots. That's really what I wanted. I like that they went out of their way and even made all the connectors and stuff like that white. That is a nice touch that just looks a little bit better. Some of them leave them black, and it's like, but I bought the white variant because I wanted a white. So why is it black? But that's fine. I'm looking forward to this. We have, I believe, 3 M.2 slots. I'm gonna have to double check. It does have an easy release here, so this is a button to easy release the graphics card. Now that the graphics cards are all so big that they cover up the little locking release, they just put a little button over here for you so you can for sure reach your locking release. Very nice touch. I love that we have the LED codes. Super nice when you're running into issues and you're trying to troubleshoot something. So that is just fantastic. The only other thing I would mention about this board is I do like our connectivity options here. Now, we only have a 2.5 gig Ethernet port. 10 gig would be nice. 2 of them's nice. The Pro Art board that I have in the gaming PC right now is nice because it has both. But we get, you know, 7 USB, 3.2s, 6. Math is really hard. And we get a couple USB 4 DisplayPort USB Type-Cs. Plus we get a couple other USBs up top here, which is nice to see. All-rounder, nice. Also going out of your way to make the I/O bracket white. Nice little touch. This was like a fairly priced motherboard. Like, I believe I spent like 300 and something on this, which, yeah, for a motherboard is expensive, but to get a white variant and see all these features and the actual attention to detail is extremely nice. Hopefully it glows just as nice. I'm just excited to use this motherboard. I haven't used a Gigabyte one in a while. Almost all but 1 or 2 computers I've built have had Asus motherboards, and I just felt like trying something else, which is going to be this, it seems. Get into the motherboards. Accessories they give you here. Not a crazy amount. Looks like we get 2 SATA cables. We get the Wi-Fi antenna, a little Aorus sticker, not in white, but I'm not going to use your sticker anyway, so I'm not really complaining. And then we get the G connector, which I am going to have to see what this is. This looks like it's probably just a... This looks like it's just a fancy way to do all of your like case I/O and power LED, blah, blah, blah. This looks like their version of that connector, just to make it a little easier to actually plug those in, because the fact that those don't come already done is quite amazing. And case manufacturers, you suck. I don't know. That's not a nice way to say it. So that's what it's going to be. I think that's everything. We'll just go through the CPU block here too quick. Little CPU block, some nice touch. We got our AM5 set up here, our socket screws, our addressable RGB cable, and then we have the block itself. I did just dump all the screws, but this is a Singularity Computers block. I actually really like how it looks. I wish the black wasn't there, but it'll be fine. It'll be one of the little bits of black we ever actually have in the computer. Also got orange screws on it, which hopefully will match the motherboard as well. So as you should match the coolant pretty well. And then you just get all of your other socket screws and stuff like that in here as well. Sweet, we just got to get our thermal paste down. Thermal paste, Cryonaut, Thermal Grizzly. I bought a couple of these. I just have one lying around. One of my PCs is due to get put in a server soon, so we might have to be doing some repasting then. And I wanted to have another one on hand. So in the Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut bag, we get the Thermal Grizzly thing with a product code to verify them. That's something I probably won't be doing because we're just gonna hope. And then a little just booklet to tell you exactly how to spread your thermal paste, where English is not on the front somehow. But I don't really need that. We get a little spreader here and just a tiny little vial of thermal paste, like I would be expecting from a thermal paste thing. All right, so however you guys think I have the camera set up, I promise I did it more complicated. So just take that into account. But we're just gonna check the socket here and just make sure it looks okie dokie before we continue. All the pins look good. I think what I'm gonna do before I start moving the brackets and stuff, we're gonna get the CPU put in there just so that I don't have to worry about the CPU being socket getting damaged, basically, because then I don't have to worry about either of these things. Doing this upside down, so let's unupside down it, because the last thing we need to do is, you know, find out that, hey, how did you break your case? I didn't. I broke my CPU because I decided to do upside down for the camera, which also was viewing it upside down, like a genius. So let's get this little guy installed here. Drop the CPU, perfect. I'm just gonna make sure we have our little triangle here on top of the CPU, and then we have our little triangle up here on the case, which also makes sense because upright, beautiful. So just don't drop that in the socket. Give that in there, give it a little wiggle. There is also, just so you guys know, it's pretty hard to put these in upside down. There's these little notches in the CPU, so it really only goes in one way. Put that in there, and then my favorite part, thinking you're gonna break it because it's kind of hard to put in there. Everything when I build a PC, including this little cover, which you'll really want to make sure you keep, as it actually says on it, everything for each PC is in its motherboard box. So all my accessories from this build will end up in the motherboard box, because then they're all in one place. I know when I grab that motherboard box, it's that PC. Pretty straightforward. Perfect here. So I actually, like I said, I don't really know how this gets installed, but I do know it done gonna go like that. So it looks like we could take, well, let's see here. If that's how it lines up, it looks like we have to take these out, which is interesting. So we have to actually remove the socket. CPU water block. Okie dokie. Not trying to show, but the LTT screwdriver is kind of nice, so we're going to use my Noctua Edition one. For look reasons, I'm going to remove the built-in retention system, just because I think that'll look nicer. Let me grab my phone. I'm going to make sure I'm doing this right before I continue, because if I actually have to take this off, or at least undo these, that's fine. I just want to make sure before I continue and mislead myself and you guys and don't know I did it, because I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm scared. Okay, so it is looking like I have the right idea. We want the stock stand-ups. We're not doing direct die. And then I'm just going to make sure I attach the RGB cable ahead of time before I forget. And then this is... what in shaboing-a-boing is that? Well, hopefully your girlfriend returns things better than this thing returns the screws, because this is annoying. Holy crap, that's a tiny connector. It is notched weird. Let's do this. That's attached. Also, hopefully remember to remove this sticker. I don't want to scratch the copper yet, though. So we have to remove these Torx screws. I don't know for sure if I have the fitting. Also, apparently there's plastic washers here. There's plastic washers. So we just need to make sure we keep those. I am going to leave the CPU in the socket to protect it while we pull this out. I think now that we got that off, we just need to hold the screws up so we can twist them the rest of the way, because they don't come completely free on their own. Hopefully I'm correct about that. Yikes, how do those come off? Or maybe they don't. Okay, I lied. I don't really know what I'm doing yet. That had to happen, though. That's the only good news so far. Yeah, I might have to look up how to get these out. What I'm running into here is the bracket itself doesn't have any threads going through it all the way, so when I try to pull these out, they catch. And when I try to hold them up and screw, they don't want to go. But they must have. You know what I mean? Alright, so here's what I'm thinking. This is a bad thinking. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing this. I'm going to see about prying the screws up, because I can't get them to want to start threading as they go. And I'm trying to think of ways I could get them to want to start threading as I go. Oh, as I say that, I might have gotten one, and it went the other way. Okay, I can't get this to figure out. Well, that's squirrel blind a little bit here. I have always had to do screws to undo these because ASUS, but there's a little spring-loaded retention thing here, and this just lifts up, and there's 3 M2 drives, 2 Gen 5s, 1 Gen 4, and then there's another one right here that lifts up that's double thermal padded for another Gen 5 drive. That is sick. Now what I might do, since it is Christmas time, oh, that's cool, there's this little tab here that goes right inside the top of this one. That just retentions back on. These 2 little standoffs catch us here. Perfect. Drop. You can just like push it on. gigabyte. That is awesome. My $700 Asus board can't even manage that, but yet you have figured that out. Now, I'm not saying these are on there tight, but with the thermal pads, I know we'll be contacting those anyways. That is awesome. Yeah, what do you think? We'll put our one. Here's our Western Digital. Here's our Samsung. Samsung's only a terabyte. That's fine for a NAS. And then we have our little 2 terabyte guy here. This is only a Gen 4 slot, so I'm thinking you go there. And boom, our SSD is installed. This is cool too. This, I think it's more plastic, could be wrong. Maybe it's metal. There's a little metal shielding here to make this a little harder to scratch up. But then bam, we'd have our one of our SSDs installed. All right, so here is my quick idea I just tried, is taking this guy here, wedging it kind of beneath the screw like so, prying up on that while spinning this, just to see if I could get it to go. It felt like that was going to take an alarming amount of force. So what I've decided is these aren't meant to leave the CPU, which is fine. What I'm probably going to do is put that back on there. I will go through the return block process of this guy, which kind of sucks for today's video because I was hoping to put this together, but we're learning out here. I thought that was going to be easier. I didn't think that was going to be one of our problems. Leave that in there. We'll leave that put together. Let's get the RAM put on quick. I guess first is A2 and B2 are for my first 2 sticks. Nice that they put that right on the motherboard. I do be saying right here, I don't know if you guys can see that or make that out, but right there, it does say what to do first. Nice little touch, because sometimes you have to open up the manual and, like, I mean, that's fine, but make sure to do the peel. Looks like there's one on the back side. Poof. Get that put in there. So A2 and B2, let's open those suckers up. And clicked in, perfect. 2 more peels here. Not even gonna enjoy that one. And one more guy here. Oh, I mean, that is a monstrably beautiful computer looking right there. Perfect. Oh, those are beautiful. Those look nice in the board there. So I think what we'll end up doing today, we got all of those 3 things installed. We were going to do the CPU thing, but I am a little afraid of that. I'm going to look for one now. Now that I know that, I'm going to look for one that goes just to these built-in retention things, because that is obviously not coming out. So there is that. All right, so a little unfortunate that this can be such a pain to put in. I don't know what Performance PC's return policy looks like on this stuff. We'll have to see here. I mean, I didn't use it or anything. I just don't know if they charge for return shipping, which is fine. It kind of sucks. I mean, I'm going to be ordering probably a different water block from them anyways. Maybe I'll get one that's a little more clear, and maybe it won't have any black. Am going to miss that the screws had the potential to match the build a little bit. I feel like it's just going to be, I mean, maybe if we set the RAM to orange and stuff like that, we can really make up for it. But for now, we're not obviously going to be doing that anytime soon. And I'm going to get those drives ordered. Maybe just one drive, maybe just a couple 2 terabyte drives. I know it's slightly more expensive, but for me, it's helpful to just have like games are on this drive, and then we have, you know, videos for editing on this drive, and 2 fast drives just makes that a lot easier, especially having the OS on its own drive. I just feel like, in my experience over time, that just ends up running better, so it's just easier to keep it that way. With that said, yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.